Hey, it's your girl Abby, aka New Age Coach here, and I am lighting the way for those on their way to the light, to my soul vibers, that is those of you who are already subscribed, thank you. Anyone who's just tuning in, welcome. On this channel we talk all things self and soul development, so if you like that vibe and want to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Thank you for joining today's episode of Coaching New Age Coach. I will link the playlist of this segment across the top of the screen if you're interested in hearing more. But what this segment does is introduce you to amazing, fantastical human beings who are also lighting their own way, doing their own thing, being who they truly are, and sharing their gifts with everyone. That is the purpose of this. We're all in this human experience, having our own experiences. And on this segment, we share those out because you never know what you're gonna learn about someone else and how that'll resonate with an aspect of your soul. So that's the beauty of this. And I'll stop talking so we can actually meet our guest of the day. Here we go. Hello, everyone. We've made it into the video, and on the screen, you see the lovely Rebecca Abraxas. And if you've been following my channel, it is not the first time you've seen this beautiful face, especially her freaking eyes, her blue eyes that are just like popping. And that's how I actually found Rebecca and instantly subscribed because I got lost in those eyes. So it's not the first time you've seen her. We've done a collaboration, which I'll link in the description below. We talked all about emotional intelligence, and it was an amazing conversation, and I know today will be too. So Rebecca is a fellow YouTuber. She also has a BS in exercise science and wellness education. She has multiple certifications as a Reiki Master. She's just an overall Ascension Mentor and so much more that we're going to get into in this video. So Rebecca, with that said, thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Coaching New Age Coach, and I'll pass it to you. Why don't you tell the audience a bit more in your own words about who you are?
I've been a seeker my whole life. I started off in Catholic school and always asking the questions about, with my dad, like at like 12 o'clock at night, being like, what is God really? Exactly. And I've just always been a seeker, always like curious, and what got me seeking even more in my life is as a little girl, I was kind of sick a lot. I had sinus issues and I was in the hospital and I was septic and I just wasn't feeling good a lot, and I didn't realize a lot of that was from being empathic and kind of glomming on a lot of energies. I've realized now as an adult, but so I just always wanted to feel better. So that was kind of the thing of wanting to feel connected, wanting to feel physically better, wanting to feel
Yeah.
mentally better. So it led me on a very long journey with a lot of different modalities that you saw on my website and in my bio that it's been a long journey to come back to me, and that's how I see myself and spirituality is just I see everything as a vibration, and I also see that our spiritual journeys is all remembering who we are and remembering
Absolutely. As far as your website and business and using some of those modalities, why don't you talk a little bit about some of those certifications or modalities that you use just on a daily, whether it's your YouTube channel using your voice or whether it's your Reiki and yoga, but why don't you talk a little bit about the services and you offer and kind of what the goal or mission is for doing these types of modalities?
Sure. This year, I have a lot of modalities, but this year I just I got guidance to just really hone in on the voice work I do and songs that I offer, inspired songs that come through. And I'm in my YouTube channel. And recently I've become a content creator for Redbubble. So I love kind of taking these messages, right? These awakening messages and putting them on t-shirts so that we can remember ourselves every day, but also
We just came
spread
up
that
with an
message.
idea. Tell the audience we're brilliant. Before we recorded, we came up with a new t-shirt idea. So stay
We came
tuned.
up with a
Yeah, hit the notification bell on
nice
my channel
message.
and Rebecca's because you don't want to miss the new t-shirt that's now going to come out. It's a doozy.
Okay, well, mum's the word until I get it made up. Yeah, long journey, but these days what I do is just meditation and the voice work where I use voice as an awareness tool. All the modalities have gotten me to a point in my life where I can really dive deep into a meditation and really
Mhm,
get to my source self.
mhm.
And this is kind of what I mentor about, is really coming back to that sovereign connection to source
Yeah.
and letting go of all the things we need out here,
Yeah.
coming back to here. And that whole journey of outward looking has gotten me really, oh,
To
I
look
want
in.
to,
Oh, it's here. It's been here all along, the whole time. Duh.
yeah. So I mentor around that. Meditation and using voice as an awareness tool and a way to really
Yes.
see what's active in our subconscious. It's a really cool,
I'm
um,
so intrigued. Why don't you actually tell the audience your program, V.O.I.C.E, what that acronym stands for? And I do want to hear a lot about that and how, like, the voice is, it's like one of the most underrated, I think, gifts that we all have that we don't use or realize. Like, just like you said, from the emotions that come out in your voice, whether you're conscious of it or not, to the actual frequency of how unique that is, like our DNA and our fingerprints, like that is ours. No one else can have the same voice that we have, and how it is healing. Even just by speaking to someone, you're connecting with something that needs to connect with their vibrational frequency in order to calibrate. So like from that level, so I'm so intrigued by your voice work. And for you specifically, just to let the audience know, a lot of that for you is music, and you definitely want to stay tuned through the rest of this video because Rebecca has a surprise for us. But why don't you talk about how you came up with that, what that acronym is, and what voice work actually means for you?
sure. So I was a very shy little girl. So it was I would sing and dance in the privacy of my own, like, home and bedroom. But like as a teen, I started to feel this calling to sing, and I was like, oh my God, like how am I going to do this? And so I got called to sing, and I tried out for a play, chorus in the play, and I got in, and it just started my journey. So in my 20s, long story short, I started
What do you mean you're not
songwriting.
still 20? You look 20. What do you mean?
Thank you. Um, in my 20s, all of a sudden, like songs started coming, and I was playing the guitar. And then my friend said, I'm dragging you to an open mic. And I'm like, no, they're not real songs yet. And so what it was, I started to write songs because I felt like I didn't have much of a range. So I'd write songs to learn how to play the guitar and also so that I can sing them.
Yeah.
And what started to happen was I started to realize that when I did perform and I went to that first open mic, I was like, oh my God, here I am.
Yeah.
And it was like a spiritual experience. So when
Yep.
I would perform, all of a sudden it was like this just spiritual experience of, oh, this is my source
This is
self.
right.
And then I started to realize I want to be this all the time.
Mm,
So my voice started to show me how to develop my voice, but develop myself to be
at the
this
same
all
time.
the time. So that's the
Mm.
long short of it all. I mean, it goes into a very long journey because it's been a 25-year journey. But yeah, so my voice taught me how to unveil myself.
And so what does voice stand for in your program?
Oh, so recently I came up with this. It's had several names, but it's a vibration of integrated consciousness evolving.
Evolving.
Yeah, because we're ever evolving. The frequencies that are coming through, and that's the beauty of our voice. Where we're focused, we will be able to hear where we're focused every day, even if the outward mood is like, I'm in a good mood, I'm in a good mood, right? If you
Yes.
sing or to just say Om, all of a sudden you're like, oh,
Mm,
something's here. And the power of that is like whatever's kind of running behind the
yeah.
scenes is creating our lives. So
Yeah.
sometimes we're like, I'm in such a good mood. Why did this
Oh,
come and just bash my day? Oh, it's this active vibration I didn't really know was alive, and your voice takes you there. And then you get more awareness. You're like, oh, so it's really good shadow work with it being really fun. Because
it's
shadow work can
so
be
freaking
harsh.
powerful and beautiful the way you just explained that. And I study NLP and I study
Oh,
like
yeah.
word alchemy, right? So it's so interesting where it doesn't matter. You're right. Like you can say all the right things, you can say all the things, but there's this underlying, again, our subconscious, right? That's what drives us. That's the importance of NLP. That's the importance of the work you're doing. It's just working with your subconscious in different ways. But also just like the voice to me symbolizes the spiritual process, just by way of, in spirituality we can't necessarily always see things like with our eyes, right? It's that underlying faith in the internal realm. So the voice is just another modality to take what's inside that you can't see and bring it out so that you can deal with it. It's like the same thing with journaling or writing or whatever artistic expression. Voice is just another tool like that that embraces the essence of spirituality, the unseen, to make it seen so you can deal with it, address it, work with it, and then change your behavior to create the life that you want. But it starts with that awareness of like where you're at with that.
Yeah, yeah, beautifully said, beautifully recapped. And yeah, that's basically it. You know, the Tibetan monks talk about the voice as being an aspect of spirit. When we say mind, body, mind, what do we say? Body, mind, spirit, right? They say
Yeah.
body, mind, voice. Voice
Oh,
being that aspect of spirit, just
absolutely.
like you had said. So yeah, so that's the work, and it
I
looks
love it.
different for every single client. It's not like, bullet points and stuff.
Right.
It's just like what someone brings to the table, and I act as the observer, and I
Mhm.
just lay little questions, or I give little activities, and then all of a sudden, I'm a guide basically,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden the person's like, oh my gosh, I totally became aware of that. And it's beautiful work. And one of my trainers was Chloe Goodchild. I did a online training with her, and she has a book called The Naked Voice, which I got so much out of, that really took this nugget of work that I've been working with for years and kind of gave it a little bit of form.
That is now added to my list. Thank you for that. And I love your term ascension mentor, right? Because in essence, just being a human being, we're all ascension mentors, right? That's the whole
Exactly.
purpose of this segment, right? It's just we're all humans having this experience, and we all relate to different people. Like when we were talking about your voice having different frequency, it's like my voice might help someone, your voice might help someone, it might not be the same people, but it's so unique that everyone just in your own journey and sharing that and voicing your journey is helping everyone else on their journey. So we're all ascension mentors, but what does that actually mean to you as far as the work you're doing across YouTube, and your website, and just in general?
Well, for me, it took a while to really get that whatever I was doing. I was like a coach, a
Mhm.
practitioner, a therapist. What am I doing? And I
Mhm.
like mentor because I like the old thing of apprenticeship. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not like we're better or worse or
Mhm.
levels. It's just that I have an experience that someone could maybe learn from, just like you said. And a mentor just comes in, and it's not super coachy, it's not goal
Yeah.
oriented. It's like, hey, let's be together, and just our beingness together may create some awareness for your life, and may create a aha that
Yeah.
just by beingness. So it's like just being together, and sharing my journey,
Mhm.
and asking maybe a few questions of my client, and then just being like, okay. So, and on my YouTube channel, it's really about remembering our greatness, offering
Yes.
some tools that worked for me, that I just came out of doing.
Mhm.
um, and so I really like this idea of we're remembering together, we're mentoring each other, we're our beingness is a contribution on the planet, and there's no hierarchy, although some people may have gone through the one gamut before the
Yeah.
other person. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yes, I do.
That's
I
the
love that. I always say, like, you put the you in guru, right? Because I think a lot of that has gotten misconstrued with spirituality and all of these rules. And we've talked about this even in our other conversation in emotional intelligence. But what you said is, this is why I love your work so much. It's that word remembrance for me. The way you say remembrance, it's like it's not something that I have to go out and seek or find or look for or try to attain, like all of these outward activities. It's remembering that I already have all of that already inside me. So working with you or hearing your story or listening to your videos or reading a book or whatever, that like insert whatever you want for that activity I just said, it's that spark of awareness that's going to trigger something within you that has already existed in there. In order for it to be sparked, in order for it to be remembered, it already existed within you. It's just kind of coming up to the surface for you to look at, examine, and learn from. And that's the important part of the journey. I think so often we can get tripped up on like thinking we're not where we need to be, or we need to go do this or buy that course or do all these things, and those are just added tools and mechanisms. But the truth is you already, like it's already yours, you have it, it's you. So just that remembrance word is just so beautiful.
totally, totally.
What would you say still excites you doing this work, and what's kind of the biggest takeaway so far in your journey that you've gotten personally from doing this work?
Just that piece that you said, it's all right here. and just coming back to that soul self, or that, source self, waking up every day to embody it, to be the change I want to see on the planet. That's what excites me every day. It's just like, you know
Yeah.
getting back in there, getting back in the ring,
Yeah.
getting
Ooh.
back into the experimental lab of life. Dun, 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 dun,
This
dun,
just feels good too.
and be the light body, being the light on the planet, like just by being. And so if we do
Absolutely.
something, we get really into that as humans. Like, what do I do? What's my purpose? I don't know if you saw Soul yet, the Disney
Oh
movie.
my gosh, I've been talking about this movie for a week.
Oh my
Obsessed. Obsessed. Arianna, who, guys, Arianna, I always talk about her Realm of Prosperity YouTube
God.
channel. You're gonna see Arianna and Rebecca too. You wanna make sure you subscribe to all these channels. So many beautiful things coming up. But yes, she put me on to this movie, and go on. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
No,
love
it's
it. I
good.
love it.
Yes. But the idea of, like, what's my purpose? What do
Yeah,
I do? Da, da, da. And just like, the little being taking the
yeah,
little, like, thing off the tree and looking at it, and
yeah.
and finding awe, and her
Uh,
light just coming through. That's our purpose. And
it's
I
so
I love
beautiful.
that so much.
It's
And
so
that's what really
beautiful.
gets me out of bed every morning. And sometimes I have to watch, because I
Yeah,
have been very purpose oriented, and like I have a mission, I have this, and
yeah.
um that I think is a setup for depression and for
Yes.
drop. And so I think
And
just,
comparison and judgment and
yeah.
yeah.
So my mentoring especially goes really into this sense of purpose, is just beingness, is
Mhm.
being aliveness, being our light, being that self, source self, and then just moving from there.
Answer from what I took from that is just this comfort and validation in there just being. There's no doing. I asked what still lights you up to do this work, and the answer is it's not doing the work. You are the work. You're being the work, and that's what lights you up. You're just being you, and that is the task. That is it. That's all you need to show up in this world to do is be you. I noticed that you are wearing blue. You're wearing a beautiful blue necklace around your neck, and you're wearing a beautiful blue shirt that you told me you got for Christmas, which looks just beautiful on you. Is there any symbolism with that? Like, your shirt is blue, like a throat chakra. Is there any synchronicity there? Was that on
Oh,
purpose? Or what do you think about
yeah,
this?
it was not on purpose, but I notice I do a lot of things, not thinking, but just knowing, like, oh, maybe. So I notice a lot in my life that things show up in a certain way, and then I'm just like, oh,
That makes so much sense. And
I
I
guess
wouldn't have done
that's
that
what
if I thought about it.
happened. Which is an interesting concept, because in the past I always thought my intuition had to come through I would have to have a mental
Mhm.
idea of it first. And what I'm noticing is that when I'm really in the flow,
Mm,
it's quicker. It's quicker, and it's
absolutely.
not even coming through a mental or visual thing. It actually just,
Do it.
so
Yeah.
perhaps that is. I love this color, and this necklace is from a client of mine, an older client, and he just loves gifting me necklaces.
Oh, that
So I
is so
sold
sweet.
a few
Well,
type of
you are
necklaces.
wearing it. You are wearing that necklace. It's beautiful. And I don't find any irony or coincidences in the world, number one. So I
Yeah,
think it's funny, like you said, that you're wearing blue as we talk about your voice program and how important your voice is as a tool that relates to the throat chakra, which
yeah.
is referenced by the color blue. And I had a conversation too. I know exactly what you mean. In my previous segment, Coaching New Age Coach, with a guest named Heather Richmond, we talked about tattoos, right? And we talked about how she got these tattoos when she was a young girl, didn't think about it, just kind of went on a whim, got these tattoos. I talked about a couple of my tattoos and how the same thing happened, went on a whim, was like, I don't want anything, I can't think of something meaningful right now. So let me just get like this and this. And then as we fast forwarded in our lives and kind of stepped into this path, we realized we couldn't have chosen better tattoos for ourselves. And like, if we hadn't just done that spontaneously, and how much purpose and meaning they actually do have, like for us today. So I think it's just a cool relation to what you said. And I
Yeah.
think very much it's something that I'm learning, especially this year. I always make a word for 20, like each year we go through. In 2021, my word is embodiment. And I think that's a great example, because it's no longer knowing the principles and thinking with your mind and applying and having to do so much work. Like, I'm tired just saying all of that. It's really
I
just like, you feel it, you do it. Like, sometimes it's not thinking. Like, I'm just learning how to embody the trusting and the going and the flowing. And if it feels good, go. If it doesn't, stop. But like, that's the intuition part. Like you said, it's not having to think about it. Just go, just flow. It comes to you without you needing to have to know or understand. And you might not even know why in that moment, but you will later, just like the tattoo example, just like your shirt example.
Beautiful. Yeah. And that's really where my channel, my YouTube channel is going to be going this year is creativity and just learning how to be in that flow in life. Like a lot of people think creativity is just, arts and singing. But I see life as everything we do is a creative force. It's, are we going to get into the creative flow? And that's what you're talking about, that creative flow. And when we're
Yeah.
in that creative flow, we don't have to think, we don't have to get the hit, we don't have to
Yeah.
get the guidance. We just go. And
Go.
oh my gosh, it's magic. So that's
Yes.
kind of the next step on my channel and my life to just to
Yeah.
learn how to flow without that so much. What's my guidance? What's this? What's you know?
That sounded like my voice for a second. What you just did, I was like, that sounds so familiar. I do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, but
So
we're mere humans too. So like part of the message is like that compassion for yourself and that awareness to be aware when you're doing that and you hear that voice too, right? Because that's always going to be there.
yeah.
So really this journey is learning how to discern when you're in that flow state versus you're in that what one end and you're like, ah!
There's something I work with is called the five koshas. It's a yogic model, and it's really cool because you can see where you are. Like, your body gives you physical information. We get energetic information from our breath and our chakras. We get emotional, mental information. We get intuition information. And then when we're really in the flow, we're just flowing with spirit. And so when we're not in the flow, intuition says, psst. And if we don't hear that, the emotions go or the mind goes, "Hey." And then if we're not there, the breath and it all the way goes up
That's
to the physical. So it's
amazing.
all these things and whatever you're working on. So I'm on this bottom one, really wanting to work on that flow, but I appreciate every signal. Like
Yeah.
I just came off of a week of being in bed for a week. Literally, I
Oof.
could not move. I was so tired, and my body was giving me information to rest. And sometimes I go through that, and I'm just like, no, I gotta
I
get
gotta
to
keep
the
going.
flow. Like,
You're like dragging yourself through the mud.
who
I
wants
know.
to watch that? You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm supposed to post a video every day. I'm like, no,
I
we're
don't
not
know what words
supposed
I'm saying, but I'm posting.
to. So the idea for me is just like listening to all those layers of information. And right now I really want to work on that flow. But yeah, I go with, I get all the information, and some days I'm working with the emotional level, some days I'm working with the physical, and other days
Yes.
on good days I'm like, yeah, where's the flow going?
Yeah, it's always going to be that. That's life too. That's what I mean, like with the human experience and the compassion. It's always the flow is also not just being in the flow like this, but the flow is also like this. You're still
Totally.
flowing. You know what I mean? So it's
Totally.
all perspective on how you look at flow, and they're normal and they're all part of the process. So don't like beat yourself up about where you're at. What advice would you give to anyone watching this channel right now that's kind of stepping into a path, on a path, or what comes to mind just from that?
Just be gentle with yourself, and my advice would be to be still with yourself, whether you can handle 30 seconds
Yeah.
or 45 minutes,
Yeah.
to just be patient and gentle with yourself and get to know your inner self intimately through stillness and meditation, and start there. And if you want to add one more tool to it, start oming. Start
Yes.
om or ahing, and then
Ooh,
just see what's there. It's
I
a
love
really
it.
incredible process, it's so simple. Anyone can do it. You can't do it wrong.
That's beautiful advice, and I'm sure that anyone listening to that will definitely benefit from that advice, including myself. I think I needed to hear that today myself, so I will be sitting with myself and saying Om later. But let's hop into just kind of where can people find you? How can they work with you? How can they support you? Just give a shameless self-plug promo, all the ways we can get in contact with you.
Sure. Well, one, YouTube channel. I've been building it up this past year, and it's exciting. I
It
love going
is.
on there. So you can find me on Rebecca Abraxas, my YouTube channel. My website has a lot of stuff about me and what I do and my music and stuff, and that is at RebeccaAbraxas.com.
Awesome.
I'm all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all over there.
All the socials.
Yep.
Everyone, if you've made it to this point in the video, then you just did yourself the biggest favor in the world, because your ears are about to be blessed with something incredible. She is going to do us the luxurious favor of blessing us with her voice, her gifts right now by singing us a song and playing us a song. So make sure your volume's up and sit back and just enjoy the gift that she's about to offer.
Oh, thank you. This is called Where We Start, and I wrote it in 2017 at the last election.
Mhm.
And so this is a good time to sing this, I think, with this
Mhm.
celebration, with the change that's coming about, and everyone's like, what sides we're on, it's just like, where do we start with the change of peace that and unity that we want to create? And so this is where we start. This is the song. We we can't change a problem when we're stuck in its quicksand. Arm in arm, sinking deeper if we don't see a bigger plan. Ooh, be you and now, be the glory of life standing tall. Be the change, be the power of a new dawn. This is where we start. Like, like a phoenix from the ashes, we can rise above the masses. Straight from the rat race trail, so our hearts can really sing. Ooh, be you and now, be the glory of life standing tall. Be the change.
Yes.
Be the power of a new dawn. This is where we start. Where we start. Will you remember your greatness above your demise? Will you remember the truth instead of all the lies? Will you remember what's right about you instead of what's falling apart? This is where we make a change from. This is where we start. Where we start. Be you and now, be the glory of life standing tall. Be the change, be the power of a new dawn. This is where we start.
I can't even take it. I can't. That just did things to my soul, to my body, to my life. I had goosebumps. What the hell? What just happened to me? I don't even have words. I have to process what is going on inside of my heart right now. But like your voice does something to me, and it's like that's the flow, that's the angelic piece of it, that's the spirituality, that's the divinity, that's the gift. It's like you're the vehicle to let this out into the world, and I am so grateful that you were able to just perform that for us.
Thank you so much. That is the highest compliment, I think, for a songwriter and singer that you just gave. So
Oh my
I
God.
just thank you so much. You just made
No,
my day.
thank you. You made my day. Now I'm just going to play that on repeat and dance around my living room. So thank you again. And thank you again so much for being here on this channel and also on this earth doing the work that you're doing, and for being born and for being a light.
Namaste. My light is your
Namaste.
light.
Absolutely. Thank you.